In this video we are going to talk about the basics of tannins. So before starting this video, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. Tannin is a naturally occurring polyphenol that can be found in fruit skins, seeds, bark, wood, and plants. Tannins are the building blocks of red wine structure and are the main factor in the longevity of red wines. White wine also contains tannins, but in much less amounts. The amount of acid and sugar in the wine mostly determines how well it ages. Numerous variables, including grape variety, vineyard conditions, vineyard management techniques, vintage variants, and winemaking procedures, can affect the types of tannins in wine. The type of tannins in a wine can reveal information about the wine's growth stage and its potential for aging. Flavonoids and non-flavonoids are the two kinds of phenols, a broad category of plant compounds, that make up tannins. Tannins are produced by the process of polymerization, which involves the joining of monomeric, mono implies single, flavonoids to form polymers, poly means many. However, from the standpoint of flavor and wine structure, flavonoids, specifically those that form condensed tannins, are the main contributors. Non-flavonoids also contribute to tannin formation. One of the distinguishing features of tannins is their ability to precipitate proteins from solutions by binding with them and forming complexes that are insoluble in liquids, like your saliva or the liquids used to tan hide. Saliva loses its effectiveness as a lubricant when proteins are precipitated from it, providing for the astringent taste and sensation that we associate with tannins. The fact that globs of saliva proteins have congregated in the expectorated wine makes red wine in the spit bucket appear so much worse than white wine is another reason for this. Skin tannins can be generated from as few as 4 to as many as more than 100 monomers, and they can range in size from small to large due to their tendency to polymerize more than tannins from other sources. Seed tannins are smaller because they are shorter, consisting of 2 to 20 polymerized monomers. The size of stem tannins can range from being as tiny as seed tannins to being as large as skin tannins. In addition to the differences in tannin size across these three sources, there are also considerable differences in the form of the tannin molecules. During the first few years of use, oak barrels can also add tannins to wine. However, these tannins are mostly non-flavonoids, which can aid in color stabilization. When present in large quantities, barrel-derived tannins in wine often give the tongue the impression of being finely grainy. Generally speaking, smaller tannin polymers, which are primarily found in seeds, stems, and younger oak, are bitter. However, as they polymerize and get larger, they become astringent. However, the narrative of tannins is more complicated than just smaller and larger. The complexity of tannins in wine is explained by Clark Smith, a consultant winemaker, author, and educator located in Santa Rosa, California, using the following analogy. In his book Postmodern Winemaking, he claims that there are thousands of distinct phenolic chemicals, which is a dizzying array. Start putting these monomeric single units together like Legos to build tannins, and soon you have many millions of combinations that are as distinctive as snowflakes. In a vineyard, tannins naturally grow as the grapes ripen. They start building up during fruit set and continue to do so until varoicin, when the grapes start to change color and start to produce anthocyanins, another type of flavonoid. The tannins in the grape skins shield them from the light. Tannin content varies among various grape types. For instance, Tannat and Nebbiolo are noted for having very high amounts of tannins. These wines may need years to age before they are ready to be consumed. The types and amounts of tannins that emerge are also influenced by the conditions in the vineyard. Early grape harvests, cooler climates, and vintages all contribute to the production of more aggressive tannins that are more astringent and less polymerized, smaller, when the grapes are picked. More developed, softer, and polymerized, bigger, tannins will be present in grapes collected in warmer environments, vintages, and later harvest dates. In part, skin tannins serve as a grape's sunscreen. The more light that reaches, or is more intense than, a grape's surface, the more tannins the skins produce. At higher elevations, light intensity has a significant impact on the production of skin tannins. Due to the fact that light intensity is diminished as it passes through the atmosphere, higher altitude vineyards receive more intense light, which helps to create the conditions necessary to produce more powerfully tannic wines. The kind and quantity of tannins that develop in grapes and consequently in wines are also influenced by the decisions that producers make in the vineyard. The methods a winemaker employs in the winery can impact not just the quantity of tannins released into the wine, but also the quality of the tannins and the character of the wine that results. Tannins, particularly seed tannins, need alcohol to be extracted, in contrast to color, which starts to seep into must as soon as a grape's skin is ruptured. The rate of tannin extraction also increases as the alcohol concentration during fermentation rises. Techniques such as frequent punchdowns, higher fermentation temperatures, at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit, extended maceration, and the use of enzymes are some of the ways that tannin extraction can be increased. Tannin concentration can also be increased by pressing the grapes more vigorously and including the press-run wine. It is not possible to predict with any degree of accuracy the total phenolic content of a wine, which is the total sum of phenolic compounds, based on the total phenolic content of a particular grape. This is due to the fact that the extractability of phenolic compounds varies greatly between grape varieties and ripeness levels throughout different vintages. In addition, the presence of a number of other oak chemicals may have an effect. For instance, they might be helpful in the process of extracting phenols from the grapes or in maintaining the color of the wine. When red wine is pressed, its many monomeric anthocyanins and tannins are just waiting to find each other and polymerize so that they can stabilize each other. This happens when the wine is put under pressure. Tannins have their ends capped by anthocyanins, which seals the chains and stops further polymerization from occurring. Tannins and color molecules are both kept in solution because to this polymerization process, if it weren't for this process, both sorts of substances would be lost very fast. Even though an excessive amount of oxygen can be harmful to wine, its presence during fermentation and age considerably accelerates polymerization and diversifies the ways in which tannins can attach to each other. Oxygen plays a significant and intricate part in the polymerization of tannins, as well as in the capacity of a wine to take in oxygen during the course of its shelf life. When wine is produced in an environment devoid of oxygen, the process is known as reductive winemaking. This style of winemaking first gained popularity in Bordeaux in the middle of the 20th century and can result in wines that age more slowly and may have reductive odors due to the presence of hydrogen sulfide. Over time, these aromas, which can range from pleasant smoky and earthy notes to much less pleasant rotten egg or even fecal notes, may become less noticeable or perhaps completely disappear. Opponents of reductive winemaking argue that it results in wrongly produced tannins and shortens the wine's lifespan, while supporters of the technique claim that it results in aging that is more smooth and gradual. Using oxygen to make wine, or oxidative winemaking, can have a wide range of outcomes depending on the timing and volume of oxygen used. Oxygen exposure increases with increased frequency of pump-overs, punchdowns, and rackings. Generally speaking, the tannins in wines exposed to more oxygen through these techniques will polymerize more quickly and result in wines that display their fruit and are ready to drink earlier, albeit their potential for age is not always shortened. The amount of oxygen exposure a winemaker chooses to use prior to bottling has a significant impact on the personality of a wine over time. Tannins are crucial for a wine's longevity, aromatic expression, and tactile sensations in addition to these other factors. Steps must be taken at each stage of grape growing and winemaking, from the grape variety to the vineyard site and all the way up to bottling, in order for winemakers to create a wine with a tannin structure that meets their stylistic aims. Winemakers must manage a component of their craft for which there is no one solution or natural shape, whether they use strong punchdowns and harsh pressing to get as much tannins into the wine as possible or minimize pump-overs to create a lighter, less tannic wine. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.